Israel's public justifications for the many massacres that they have carried out has been that they have the right to defend themselves. This has been the narrative on Western mainstream media. It has also been the narrative on social media. It is essentially the narrative that they wish to push. And also, the Western media narrative has also been one that is quite similar. Israel has a right to defend itself. Despite all of the civilian casualties, Israel has a right to defend itself. However, all of these narratives have ignored the genocidal rhetoric which is present. John Kirby mentioned that it was obvious to the United States that Israel is trying to minimize civilian casualties. However, the death toll on the Palestinian side passed 9,000. Around 4,000 children have lost their lives. They have been killed by the Israelis as a result of these bombings. Additionally, we saw the bombing of the Jabalia refugee camp, in which hundreds of people were injured and killed just to kill one Hamas militant.
But you know that there are a lot of refugees, a lot of innocent civilians, men, women, and children in that refugee camp as well, right?
This is the tragedy of war, Wolf.
In response to this, the popular Labour MP and Shadow Foreign Secretary David Lammy mentioned that the bombing of the Jabalia refugee camp could be justified if we can find military objective.
It's clear to me that it's wrong to bomb a refugee camp. But clearly, if there is a military objective, it can be legally justifiable.
These arguments and those like them from Western commentators rest upon the legitimation of, in Wes Streeting's words, a moral dilemma that Israel has to use. That dilemma is the following official IDF line.
I've no doubt that there are criticisms that are being levelled of Israel's response and caution that is being urged on the government of Israel.
Israel is fighting Hamas and regrettably has to kill civilian casualties as collateral. However, this is only half of what is being said by Israeli officials. We have Netanyahu invoking Amalek. What is Amalek? What is this? You must remember what Amalek has done to you. A reference to a Jewish tribe that was slaughtered in the Old Testament. Slay both and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass, an injunction to kill everyone. The former Israeli military officer at Israel's intelligence unit, Eliyahu Yossein, called for ethnic cleansing in Gaza, stating that there are no civilians in Gaza. There are 2.5 million terrorists. We have families of Israeli soldiers going into Israel saying there are no innocents in Gaza. The only innocents that are in Gaza are the hostages that Hamas has taken.
From the Jordan River to the Middle East, that's all ours. It was promised to us.
I think the bombing is good. I think they should have a lot more of the bombing. The bombarding, I think we can do a lot more inside of Gaza.
The dead children in Gaza, according to government-appointed propagandist Hanania Naftali, are little time bombs. Israeli Minister of Heritage Amishai Eliyahu calls for the complete destruction of Gaza, replacing it with beach condos. For Giora Island, former head of the Israeli National Security Council, Gaza will become a place where no human being can exist. The IDF spokesperson, who now insists that Israel is putting emphasis on taking care of civilians, said at the start of the latest incursion that the emphasis was on damage, not on accuracy. The Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant described the Palestinians as human animals, saying that the IDF will act accordingly. He announced too that Israel would cut off food, electricity and fuel. The Israeli soldiers who dance and sing about the destruction in Gaza, the cutting off of food to Gaza, seem to understand perfectly who the target is. Many pro-Palestinian activists will ask why the Western assessment that Israel has a right to defend itself does not take into account the explicit calls for genocide that has come from the mouths of Israel's soldiers, officials, and ministers. The death toll has now passed 9,000, 4,000 of which are children, young children. Schools have been bombed, refugee camps have been bombed, hospitals have been bombed. The question arises, is Israel defending itself, or is there a genocide taking place before our very eyes?